mic, a message? Do they know who you are? And I'm like, yeah.
Well, let's call the meeting to order. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Carl, if you'll do the roll call, please.
Robert Mueller.
Here.
Dina Kreitler.
Here.
Jan Bronze.
Here.
Beth Caldwell.
Here.
Stephanie Grumminger.
Here.
Kelly Fowler. Laura Oliver. Michael Hankins. Kathy Waltz. Joe Steiger.
I don't think Joe's on.
Okay.
I'm not sure how it's gonna.
No, I think,
Appoint anybody else, but I just wanna kinda sit in and.
yeah, they have not yet appointed. I know, as I just told Stephanie, the mayor's asked each of the board members which committees they're interested in.
I think they're going to cover
And I was
that
going to say
Thursday.
that Thursday might be.
Yep.
So we do have a quorum in this case.
Okay, thank you. The agenda is before you. Are there any additions, corrections to the agenda? The only thing I'd like to add is under new business, a thank you to Joe Steiger for his support of the committee for the last year. Are there any other additions?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Dina, is there a second? Jan? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. You see that they're attached to you. I think there was one correction you sent out from the draft.
Yes. And so this is the corrected.
Beth, is there a second to the
I second.
Steph Grimminger? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Are there any citizens to be heard? There being no one coming forward, we'll move on to the Director of Tourism report. Stephanie?
Okay, in front of you, you have two reports. One is for February, one is for March. I'm very happy to say I did hire a part-time. Her name is Megan Hook. She is from St. Genevieve. Her father was Rick Hook. He used to be mayor, I believe, 20 years ago. She is absolutely fantastic. She has a college degree. She's really good on the computer. So she's going to be working for me 4 days a week during the week so that I have her. And we've already really jumped into a lot of the spreadsheets and the numbers and getting caught up. So I was able to get caught up on the reports for this week, which was fantastic. For February, fiscal year 13 advertising with the co-op is complete. It's all done, it's in the bag. Now we're just waiting for payments and checks to return for reimbursements. The visitors and the passports for February. Visitors, were down from 2012, but 2012 was unseasonably warm. And February is consistent with February's prior to 2012, so I wasn't too concerned that that number came down. On the budget report, our expenses are lower than 2012, and I include a breakdown of how the funding is spent. The overwhelming majority of my expenditures on a monthly basis are for building operation. And the February 213 web report is continuing the trend for the sharp increase of visitors over 2012. And then kind of an in-between on here. Last week I went to Jefferson City and attended the Missouri Travel Council. They had a workshop on marketing, and one of the focus was the social media and websites and keeping track and using analytics, which we're ahead of the game. A lot of places don't have that. A lot of the other destinations don't even have marketing plans, so we are well ahead of the game. But that was one of the things that they had talked about was, really keeping track of your year over year and then the month to month. So we haven't been looking at it month to month, the growth. And that's something I have
Do you have
on my agenda to
enough
do.
likes on your social media to do the analytics on?
We do now. We have 44 likes on the visitstgen.com. The St. Genevieve, we have one, and then we were able to convert. We just found it through YouTube. You can convert a personal page, which was the spelled out St. Genevieve, into a company page, and so we've done that. But that's another page where we have a lot of locals.
Was that the other one the third one that you had?
Right, that's the third one that we were transferred over. So I would like to continue with the Visit St. Gen, because that is our advertising and what we promote on our advertising. And it's growing slowly, but it's growing, which is exciting. And it's people who are not from here. It's people who are seeing it on our advertising. Then,
We talked once before about social media and advertising that way, and we talked about training in that area for our businesses. And I think you'd mentioned that Big River Tel had done a program, and part of that was covered. But I would suggest that
Yeah, I
maybe
would
between
like-
you and the chamber, that possibly get together to offer training on social media.
yeah, and I would like to do that again, and I have been in contact with Big River Tel and the company that they brought in, and it's a matter of just finding time that works with everyone's schedule, because they're doing a lot of those training sessions. I would like to bring those guys back in to do it, because Facebook changes daily. I mean, and when I was at this Missouri Travel Council in Jefferson City, they had Gus Wagner, who is the president and founder of the Rocket Group, and he does strictly marketing, and one of his strong areas is the Facebook marketing and the Twitter, social media, and he spends 2 hours a day looking at the changes that they have on a daily basis, just reading and getting to understand. So it's something that changes so much.
I think you remember there was the thing offered by the extension office over at Fredericktown recently. I don't think you were there on that Friday night, but
No.
they gave a presentation on social media also. And I think our businesses really need to understand that, because we're, again, underrepresented in a lot of areas on
Oh, I agree.
on that. So
I agree. Each
I think
business
training we
should
could
have-
offer to those businesses that are involved in the tourist trade
I agree.
would be beneficial.
I mean, we have, I know the B&Bs are involved with Facebook. We have a couple of the stores.
I know, like Beth, you're on.
Beth is, I know Big Field is. The wineries are all over it. I think it might be more some of our shops that have been around a long time and it's really, like Kathy Waltz doesn't
Yep.
even have an email account. I mean, she doesn't.
I think she does now.
Oh, does she now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but no, that's definitely that they all need to look into.
Well, it's more than just having one, it's updating it
Oh, and it is.
regularly.
And that
Because
was-
there's several shops in town that have one that, the last update might have been a year ago.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really do a whole lot of good.
No, it doesn't. And the expectation, if somebody posts on your website, the mindset is they expect to have a response from that company, business, whatever, within 60 minutes. So it's a matter of not only do you post this, but you have to have someone monitoring. And so the girl that I have hired, she is working, her three focus are groups, which we have delved into the groups. We're inside out, everything that's coming up. And then we're working on, this afternoon, looking at people who have requested information, and then I have some other leads from Travel Talks meeting I went to, and then to the Missouri Bank Travel Exchange, that we're going to follow up on those. And social media is within her realm, and then helping with managing the events and getting them on our Facebook and getting them on our calendar on the website. And so she's going to be great help. She's very computer friendly, she's very familiar. I'm hoping at one point to start a blog. One of the things that has been really growing is content management on your website as a part of search engine marketing and search engine optimization, and the blogs really make a huge difference. So, not anytime soon, but it's on my agenda for hopefully by the next couple of months to have something on and use that to increase and improve our search engine results. For March.
Or just, because there's something, you and Dina, can you guys work together to maybe arrange some training in social media? Because I think it'd be valuable to your members also.
Do you know if, was that Locotech, that big
Was
river?
Locotech.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known that company.
Okay. Yes, we can absolutely do that. So, and then, moving on to March. So, fiscal year 2013 co-op is in the bag. I have already started advertising fiscal year 14, which is July through September. Just, that's how far ahead the advertising is due. Visitors and passports, our visitors in March were down from 2012. 2012 was unseasonably warm, so we had a good high visitor count. Now, the one thing I noticed that when I compared March to years prior to 2012, it was down, but this March we had several major snowfalls, one of which was the fourth largest on record. So I'm attributing the weather to the biggest decrease that we have, because we are still having high interest in phone and website hits. The budget reports for this month are higher than they were for 2012, but that's mainly due to actually it is due to co-op market advertising. That was that fourth quarter that we just had sent in. Once again, the web report, March 2013, continues to trend with a sharp increase over visitors in 2012. And then, in addition, there's the financial report. One of these, the downtown shops, you have the 2013 numbers, but it didn't transfer to the graph. I fixed that, but I didn't reprint because that's a lot of ink. But we at least have the numbers on there. So the individual passport sales resumed on April 1st, though we did have some passport sales due to groups coming in. The downtown shops tax receipts are up 15.5% calendar year to date.
That's our 8 sample shops.
In the downtown. And then the downtown restaurant tax receipts are down 4.3% year to date, but St. Genevieve Cafe closed on January 1st, and then at the end of March, the Big Field Cafe moved their operations into the Sandbar.
I think they were closed for a lot of March.
And they were closed for a lot of March and February.
One of the things I'd suggest is that we have a sample of 8. Why don't we can drop back and have, Sue can calculate it on the sample of 6 and take those out so we can actually trend from 2010 forward. And instead of having a sample of 8.
Do a sample of 6. I actually agree with you on that, simply because that's a goofy situation where we have 2 businesses running out of one location with the Sandbar and with.
Yeah, and I wouldn't include the Sandbar / Big Field in the future. It would just be
Right.
the 6 other ones that we have.
Right. And then my other question is, so Jamie is opening up on 61. Do we take that out of our downtown sales, or do we keep her when she's
Well,
up and operating?
No, that would, she was in as the Cafe St. Genevieve,
Right.
and we would not include that in the future.
Okay.
She was one of the 2 that we'd take out, the Big
Right.
Field and the Cafe Genevieve.
Right.
And
Okay.
just kind of looked at, so we can look at trends. I mean, we always have the old data, but then as we go forward, we can see how the other 6 are
Okay.
doing.
Well, and the reason why I had asked is because we have a lot of the adult groups go there, and we've had quite a few say, when we come in later in the year, well, should be open, and, so we're able to reserve a lot of groups.
Yeah, the only problem is then,
Because
like,
of
when we
her
open
with her
Audubon's up,
location.
we're gonna have that back again, and it's
Right.
just, if we're looking at trying to compare apples and apples, that's why I'm just suggesting we start with the 6 that we have.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna look at restaurants in total in the area when we look at the city and county numbers.
Okay.
But these are more down in the area.
Right. Right. I just with the.
Are you all in agreement with going to 6 on
Yeah, I
that?
think we should keep it to the ones.
And downtown.
Because then,
Because
well,
she's
then why don't you
technically
include
not.
Weeks and
Oh, yeah.
Chinese restaurant?
Yeah,
you know?
she's technically not downtown, but she has the draw for the groups. I mean, we have groups that are booked that are like, we'll put a different date on, when is she gonna be open?
Yeah.
Because, and a big part of that goes to mobility issues. And so the old brick, there's only a couple steps to go into, but if our other option currently is the anvil, and to have groups, you have to be able to go up that staircase, and people with mobility issues are not able to make that. Do we know when, I have an idea when the Audubon? is
It's gonna
expected?
be late fall.
Late fall?
We hope. We're still working that schedule out, but we will be handicap accessible. We will have an elevator
Good.
to the basement and to the second floor.
Awesome.
So it's
That
one
will
of the
help.
things that we're trying to
That will help
to
a
do.
lot.
Yep.
Okay. And that's all that I had. We did have some passport sales in March. I believe we sold 14 passports. It's not on this report because we're only showing April through November. But we did have payments going out to the houses.
I was just looking at May, we don't have a lot of school kids or groups coming in. Would you say that's down this year compared to last
It
year?
is definitely down, and it is overwhelmingly due to budgets being cut. The schools cut them because they do not have to go, especially with fourth graders, it is not required that they go on field trips. And the schools have cut the budget to where field trips are not being done.
So it's not like they're going somewhere else, they're just not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere,
We're
right?
not losing them to another city or something, they just
Correct.
can't do it at all.
Correct. Yeah, so I mean, we were doing some follow-up on that. I mean, we've had a few groups that have come in, and we have a few groups scheduled, but
It's not like it.
It's not like it is.
Last year was a good year.
yeah, last year was a very good year. But, I mean, if they don't have the funding, if they don't have the funding, I mean, they're firing teachers. I think I would be a teacher if I was fired and they were still spending money for kids to go on field trips. So that's where we are. You know, we've been getting a lot of last minute though. I mean, I just heard from St. John, and they're wanting to bring their students in 2 weeks. So it's, you know, kind of thrown on there. And another thing that we have started to do is any that are, you know, we're working on, it's not set in stone, but we have put that on for the houses just in case they do go through. So like we have 3 visits from the American Queen Steamboat that will be coming in. We put that tentatively up on the schedule, even though it is a sure thing, until we have, you know, all of the i's dotted and t's crossed.
Those were the
That way-
Chester groups.
Those are the Chester
Yeah.
groups. That way, the houses, you know, are aware of it, so that way it's not popped on there at the last minute in scheduling of employees. So, that is what I have for February and March. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for bringing it back current again. I think that's good that we're to the last month. You don't remember last time we were talking about, we were 2 months behind in reporting of data.
Well, it has really helped having someone who can use a computer. And like I said, I'm having her work weekdays with me, so 4 days a week she will be working with me, and we've really been focusing in on quote-unquote back of house and getting these up to date.
I think one of the things that we need to get a little more involved with is seeing more of the particulars on the budget. I mean, operation of the center is something that we really don't deal with that much, other than helping out when there's a budget discussion in the fall. But the particulars of marketing expenses and the particulars of tour group revenue, rather than, in the old, it used to give us the monthly budget printout. That's a little too much for us, but I think there are some specific categories, printing, postage, things like that we're kind of interested in, and would like to see a little more detail on that. And I can send you some information on that.
So postage, marketing, and probably co-op.
Yeah, co-op, the Tourism Tax Commission.
I'd like to see tear sheets.
You want to see tear sheets?
Absolutely.
Okay, I can bring in tear sheets.
See what
Because
we're
that's
doing.
one of the things that one of our
I
missions.
do on
is-
occasion, just because, I mean, it usually winds up I'm bringing the whole magazine in, but I'm happy to bring in the tear sheets.
Yeah. or send them out beforehand. One of the things,
And a
it's very
projection.
difficult to look at stuff when it's just coming, I know you sent it out last night.
Well,
but-
if you send out an email on a proof, it doesn't show what it looks like in the magazine. And you really, a tear sheet gives you what it looks like in the magazine in comparison to the ads surrounding it. So that's, I think, a much better method than just looking at the proofs.
Yep.
But, yeah, I can bring in the tear sheets.
Good.
Okay, any other questions of Stephanie? Okay, let's move on to old business, signage update. We now have, I can tell you, we now have approval from the state on our agreement with them to install the tourism signs. I think we probably removed that one. There's going to be 16 of them. We had a walkthrough with the selected vendor last week and located where all the signs are going to be. The city, there's a couple of places where we have to actually drill through the sidewalk, and the city's going to take care of those 3 places. There was one thing we were going to send them our logo. Did that?
I sent the vector,
Okay.
yeah, I sent the PDF, and then I told him I had the vector available if he preferred. He said he preferred that, I sent it yesterday.
Okay, good. So I think it's going to take them about 2 weeks to prepare the signs. There's some, we have to get Dig Right in to take a look, and so that's all being coordinated through Dave Pinkley.
And then the only other thing that we have are for the 2 maps. I asked Martin for what the dimensions are, so that way Kim can set up.
Yeah, and there are 2 different sizes, because the
Right.
one down at the Main Street Park is small
Yeah,
compared to the,
one at the courthouse.
at the courthouse. This is what,
Vendor for signage.
it's a company from Farmington. We went out for bid for 5, 6 people. They came in the lowest. We did reference checks with the city of Farmington, who uses them, and they were quite happy with them.
And they're gonna be metal?
They'll be metal with retroreflective tape on the signage part. There's all kinds of
7
rules
feet.
about 7 feet above the level of the roadway, and all kinds of things, but that's what we've worked out with the state. It's taken a little longer. It's called a wayfaring program, and we were kind of the guinea pigs, I guess. So we hope by the middle of May that we will now have improved signage. There'll be some out on 3261 coming from each direction.
Okay.
In town here, there'll be at Market and 4th, Market and Main, and there's some coming in from the ferry landing also. So I think there's 16 altogether. A couple of things we still got to do. We'd ask them for some I-55 signs and arrows, because if you look, we have 2 places in town, one down by Main and Merchant, and one by Merchant and 4th, where we have directions to 61. And I think 55 went in here back in the 70s.
That would be nice, yeah.
So you requested 55 signs?
Yeah, we have. We just haven't got them yet.
Yes, we have.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, they're sitting by my desk. I didn't know who, I didn't know who got them.
Did an arrow come with
Where'd
them?
these
2
come
arrows?
from?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
They were sitting by my desk right here.
Okay.
They came in a guy tried to deliver one of the signs on April 1st.
This is why we
And-
have meetings.
On April 1st, and Martin came up and I said, I don't know who's supposed to get these, and he didn't have any recollection at the time.
Okay.
And so the guy took them back with him, and then we were off for election day, and I came in on Wednesday, and they were there, and they've been there, and I still
Okay.
didn't know who.
Well, we know how to take care of that.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Okay,
That'll make quite a difference, I think.
yeah.
Oh,
in the signs.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then we have signs
Yeah.
we have to take down too. I mean,
Yes.
to kind of make it consistent, and we have a list that we're reviewing on.
All those like little ones
Clean,
that are.
Yeah.
cleaned up, not as cluttered.
Yep.
Well, the signs that are out there is it's one big Interstate 55
Yeah.
sign with the,
Arrow.
and
The arrow
there's
to-
one arrow, and then a small sign that says 2. So,
Okay.
We have
2
two of-
Interstate, no, there's one arrow, I think there's one arrow.
There should be 2 arrows. We need it for
I'll
both
look and make
sides,
sure.
yeah. Okay,
So-
great. Okay, any other questions on that?
Well, it's unrelated to your project there, but since we are talking about signage, I've been noticing, I just want to make a comment, I don't know where it's supposed to go, but the four-color process banner signs for the phone poles are starting, I've seen some of them are getting wind blown.
That's a
tattered.
chamber.
We've removed several of them,
Have you?
actually. Yeah, they won't be replaced. That was a grant program that we did with that funding, so. Are you referring, which one's loose now?
I don't remember.
There's one loose out by Smashley's I noticed this morning.
Yeah,
or
that's
yesterday
right.
morning. That one, and we've replaced that one twice in
window.
probably the last 4 months.
Well, with the restrictions that citizens put on those, I'm not sure it's worth doing.
Yeah, well, and we're out of banners, we have no more.
Yeah.
We've replaced that one twice in the last 4 months, that was the last of them. And they both went to that one. So I don't know if a truck's hitting them, or I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but,
It's been very windy.
It has.
I was gonna say, in the past 6 months, I have replaced my American flag at the Welcome Center
Oh,
twice.
yeah, I take a rotary flag too, Island flags.
Yeah.
yeah, so
Twice a
unfortunately.
year at least.
Well, this was the first time I've had to do it twice in 6 months, and so, I mean, it just,
Anyway,
Well,
so
unfortunately, those won't be redone, I mean, unless we get some other kind of funding to redo them, but it was probably a $5,000 project I think we did, and we had several extras, but now we don't have any.
Yeah, but I just think tattered ones are worse than none
Yeah,
at
they
all.
are, and Citizens has really been really good about going and taking them down for me. So I'll have them scout and do that again. But those have been up since,
4 years.
yeah, I think we're hitting almost the 5-year mark. June, I think, will be 5 years actually, I'm pretty sure. But I'll make a note of that for Citizens to look at them.
Okay, listing of St. Genevieve entities on visitmo.com. The old brick and only child just went up. At the back of your package is a list of ones that I think we should still go after. This month, if we get them in this month, they can be eligible, certain ones can be eligible for the
The book.
printed book, which I think is 300,000 copies goes
Yeah.
out. It only takes 15 minutes to put these in, because I've done several of them for people, and I think we need to get the museum in there for sure, we need to get the farmer's market in there, in terms of general things, and the community center needs to be in there.
yeah.
Unfortunately, Bob, the thing about it is unless we do it, they're not gonna do it.
I was gonna
They've been
say, I
after
know
it for
there's,
months,
having
and-
that description in there, I know is overwhelming to a lot of people, and that's why they haven't put it in, because they don't know what to say. And you don't have to be overly detailed, just kind
No.
of give an idea of what your story's about.
I've written them for people.
Actually, the simpler the better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just think that they're just not willing to do it, so if we did it for
Well,
them.
what I'd like is there's some volunteers to help work this list. I've been going out talking to them.
This list is who's not on here.
You have to be very careful, though, because the state of Missouri is very clear about, it has to be the business owners that do that.
Yeah.
They've let me put stuff on.
Have they?
Mhm.
All right, because.
And I usually get permission from the business,
Yeah.
too. I mean, I always have
That
them
too.
sign something
I
that
was gonna
says
say,
I
that's
can.
something signed, yeah, that would
Yeah.
probably work. But Stephen Fouts, I mean, he was always, you can't do this for them, they have to do it.
I would be willing to volunteer to help if you can get me a form for somebody to sign, something, maybe a template that you've used to get permission, then, I can
Yeah, and
charge-
part of it's the information, and one of the things, because I've recently put some in on things, if you list a Facebook or a Twitter account, you have to have the full URL, because I didn't
Yeah.
do that. The other thing that they suggest is when you're doing email addresses, like if you say the old brick, you capitalize the, or the T, the O, and the B is another thing that they recommend. Keywords you can put in pictures. You don't have to put in pictures. You don't have to put in an email address. You don't even have, I mean,
But all of those things do help,
Right.
and if you put in photos, this was one thing that was also brought up at the Missouri Travel Council workshop in Jefferson City. When you take a photo, your camera or your phone assigns a number to it. Before you upload it, make sure you rename it and tag it with the business or what it's a photo of in the name, and then add it to the description. And that also helps with search engine marketing and search engine optimization and has everything tied back. Otherwise, it just is out and has no way of tying back to the business or the town. So that's something else that we have on my agenda to work on at the Welcome Center, to make sure we have the keywords and names and phrases.
I have talked to the farmers market people, the community center, one of the museum board members, and people like Treasured Memories, Stained Glass Shop, Sona Bluma, Show Me Shop. I'm working with them on theirs right now. But again, I think if we can get some more of these on here, we'll have a much better presence
I can talk to
coming on.
Teresa with the Hayloft,
Yeah.
and I could help Kathy with hers.
I have a little form. The form's actually attached on the back of the information that they asked for. If I'm working with a business, I go in and I sit down with them and go over this information. It's just describing your business like Stephanie said, is the most difficult thing, but it can be a sentence, it can be 2 sentences.
Right.
Just something that tries to catch the eye. And you can, once you have all that, when you go on, it doesn't take any time at all.
No. Unless you're waiting for it to, I don't know if it still has that problem, but when you hit the submit button and it just takes forever.
No, there was
Has
some
that
other
gotten better?
fun, yeah,
Oh,
they
good.
redid their portal
Nice.
just recently. And there's some little quirks that happen that when you go to enter the data, it gives you a funny screen, but you go out and come back again a couple times and then it shows up right. But,
Okay. Yeah, Stephen Fouts, who used to be in charge of the website, has just been promoted to marketing director, and they're in the process of hiring someone.
Well, the listing area is a guy named Scott.
Yeah, they have someone helping him out, but they're going to actually hire somebody to take Stephen's spot. So hopefully the sooner the better. I believe they had interviews on Friday.
Well, I may ask a couple of you to help see if we can push some of these businesses or go collect the information, get approval from them to enter it. Okay, update on the conversion of the website to CMS format.
Okay, yes, I can give an update on that. We received bids. They were all way more than what we can afford, so we're looking at a few different options. One, I am looking for any type of technology grants or website grants that are available out there that we can go after. I also would, and I thought I was going to see Sandra last week at the French Festival meeting, but she wasn't there. I wanted to follow up with her and see if maybe SEMO's IT department, if they would be willing or interested in getting involved and then helping with the maintenance and seeing if that would help reduce our costs.
You know she no longer works there. at
Oh,
SEMO.
no, I
Since
thought she
about
did.
the first of the year.
First of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
But she can also give you some guidance
She
as to
can-
go
yeah,
to who
she can
to.
give
Point
you
me in
some
the direction.
resources.
Ask Larry Moore.
Well, I mean, he's good.
He's the board trustee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought that might be an
Sure.
option to look at.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Weren't they all in about the 25,000 range just for conversion?
Yes. Yes. And that included, conversion to the CMS and, making it, the term is AMOLE. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's that way, no matter who's going to your site, it automatically recognizes if it's a desktop, a tablet, or a cell phone, and it will pop up to the correct size.
We had a telephone
Yeah,
inquiry from one of the companies. It was interesting, they said that, we've always looked at how many of the mobile hits, how many were iPad, iPod, versus, or iPhone versus the Android, and their comment was the Androids are growing
Yes.
significantly, especially in
Yes.
places like California, that people are using more Android. But the goal, as Stephanie said, was that whoever's dialing in, it automatically recognizes it, gives them the right format.
Correct. Correct. So
I'd just like to say, I don't think you should, I think there are more stones out there that you can turn over to work with people, because, this has been true of web design for 15 years, that you can find somebody that'll do it for $50,000 and somebody qualified will do the same job for $1,000.
Right. Well, and that was the thing, we were trying to go with companies who had a
Right.
track record that we could look at, but these are the guys, there were 3 that I contacted, and they were like, we started 50,000, and I'm like, huh, thanks, have a nice day. One was like 70,000, again, thanks, have a nice day, I won't bother you, but, the 3 that seemed just really good, I believe they were all St. Louis companies, they were all 20 to 25.
Yeah.
Which is definitely out of our realm, so,
And you can find people online that'll do it for a low price. They may be jobbing it out to somebody else. And the problem is, we want somebody that's going to be supported, down
Correct.
the road, too. I mean, it's not just a one-shot conversion.
correct. So, that's, so we had some individuals who are a company of one that we were going to kind of go back and look at. The preference would be those who are in the United States, and even more preference of regional, because I would love to be able to, whoever we decide, invite them to come and stay a weekend and kind of see what everything is about, just to kind of get the feel and know, what we have and make it exciting. But, so that's where we are. We're kind of at a stumbling spot, and I'm looking for any grants, and I will write as many as I need to try to get any additional funding so that we can do it, because I don't want to do it halfway. I mean, if we can get the college to help out and that offsets some of our costs, that would be fantastic. But, if there's additional funding out there that's available, I'm gonna go after it.
Well, the other thing that we talked about, and you mentioned lean and mean, and there was a discussion we were having when these companies, do we convert the website as is, or do the changes first? And I would suggest that you work with the electronic committee to go through each of the main pages
Yeah,
and say,
and
this is what the suggested changes are.
Yeah, that's definitely something I want to do.
And we need to schedule that and get it going. We can do a page at a time, a category at a time. There's not that many of them, but what do we want to leave on there? What do we want to take off?
I agree. I think that would be fantastic to set up. And the sooner the better.
Okay. 2013 conversion study, this is the small 400 one.
Right. I'm getting ready to send these out for bids. I held off doing anything until this Missouri travel conference thing I went to last year. I wanted to talk to some of the other smaller cities and DMOs to see who they used and what was successful for them. And so I have a list of who to go after. We do have to advertise for it, but I want to go after companies that I know have a good reputation, both with the state and with our marketing partners throughout the state. We already have one from H2R Marketing, that's John Henry, and he is very well known, and he has a $2,500 he'll have to rebid because it's past 30 days, but...
So when do you anticipate awarding the contract?
Hopefully by the next meeting.
Okay. Okay, hiring, you mentioned the hiring of Megan.
Yes, Megan started April 15th. She's had a lot of promise. She's very bright. As I mentioned, she has a college degree in school teaching, and she's very well versed on the computer, and she has been incredibly valuable. I mean, we've started going through and getting really hands-on on the groups, and we've gotten a little bit into the social media, and I'm really excited. I think she's going to do very well. Like I said, I'm going to have her working 4 days a week. That'll keep her part-time, but it'll also, provide me someone with computer skills throughout the week. Now, Tori has given his notice. I was expecting this. He starts an internship / new job, part of college, on May 20th. So that weekend, I think May 18th is Saturday, will be his last official day. He has asked to stay on for event weekends, that he's willing to help out, which is kind of nice because we kind of usually need all men on deck for that. But Tori has done a fantastic job, and the time he's been here, he's staying on long enough to help me with training Megan and getting through all of the different reports and that we do. So.
As we've done in the past, I would offer to take Megan around to all the houses. I
And-
think it was in the museum, in the
Yeah, and I,
church.
actually, I gave her, I comped her a passport. She's been through the Bolduc. I need to get her up to the 2 houses. The museum currently is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Irma is in the hospital. Not really sure when she's going to come out, so it's just Deb that's working there. And so she's, just so that she's not working 7 days a week, just for FYI.
That needs to go out to the B&Bs. Like,
If she would like, I would take her on the walking tour
Yeah, I just-
to explain other things that are in the area, and take her to those venues.
Yeah, no, I would very much like to do that.
So how many hours is Megan putting in? I heard you say 4 days a week.
4 days a week, it'll be 32.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I also have set up, I will have an intern this summer. And the process for this intern and the focus for this intern is the budget process and marketing. And he's a CMO student. And so he's going to come in right when the city starts the budget process. So he'll be helping me out with setting up the fiscal year 14 budget, going through, comparing, previous years. And so that'll be nice to have some additional help with that, because that can be extraordinarily time consuming.
Where are we getting the intern from?
CMO.
SEMA?
Okay.
I had a question on that, Stephanie, because I think this board could help you in the budget process and setting up your plan for the next year. So if you get somebody to come in, that's great. I think the board really needs to be more proactive, because we are kind of financially constrained as far as what we can do. We only have so much money in the budget, so I think this board really needs to be invested in your budget and be able to push that budget to the Board of Aldermen, the mayor, and Martin. I think we've missed the boat the last couple of years. I think you've got a lot of influential people on this board, and I think you really need them behind your budget 100% and pushing that to the Board of Aldermen. So I would really encourage you to do that. We've talked about setting some long-term goals and some of the needs, the tourism needs that are out there. You can really probably leverage your board members and start pushing those things and start thinking about those, because now's the time to start doing that planning now.
Right,
So when you get that intern, you can put together a final plan with the board's input and really be able to, because the city's in a decent financial shape. I don't see your budget getting cut, but to try to see some more money put into it, I think you're gonna need as much help as you can get.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I would really like that. I have asked for the help previously, and then.
But I think the important thing is the big budget items that we're concerned with is the marketing
Right.
of all the entities.
The co-op is locked in. I mean, I've already applied for the co-op. That's set in stone, depending upon General Assembly passing the budget and providing money. The Missouri Department of Tourism should at least get what they had last year. The governor put in for a request for an additional $6 million. The House passed it, the Senate took it out, so they're going to be going to joint committee and working that out, but they are supposed to, and I believe it's required by law, that they have a final approved budget by May 10th. So hopefully that will be done in time. But that extra $6 million, if it doesn't go in, it should not affect the co-op program, which was the big concern, because last year they pulled the co-op money out. So it, as of right this minute, it doesn't look like that will be a concern. So once it's approved, hopefully.
But I think it's, go ahead,
What was
John.
the baseline amount that was applied for?
They applied for how much did I apply for?
No,
Oh,
state.
the state, 19 million, they were at 13 million last year.
Yeah.
And the General Assembly tried to cut it back to 10, which would have cut out the co-op program. This year, the governor requested 19, the House approved 19, the Senate approved 13. they cut out that $6 million increase. So it'll be interesting to see. And a lot of the tourism partners are really, and this is another one where, we need to contact Engler and remind and say, hey, we really need to have this. This is very important for our region, and for the health of the community.
Well, I think the important areas are that we need to maybe have some working sessions on our tourism tax commission spending and get those guys involved, and the marketing from the budgets that we get from the city and the county, even though we may not have them all in hand, but planning what marketing we want to do. We're seeing stuff after the fact, not before the fact, and I think that's what maybe
Well,
what
no,
Joel.
I handed out information before the fact. I handed all this information out back in June last year, trying to
Well,
get
and some of the
everyone
other
to
things,
be
too, is
involved.
just having a list of the big ticket items that you're looking for, because.
And I had that.
Well, I know, so I think if, I think we dropped the ball as, together, to really push it, because I think when your budget originally goes to the city administrator, sometimes it'll get cut even there.
Yes, it does.
Before it comes to the Board of Aldermen. So
Mhm.
we've got to have our ducks in a row before you even submit your original budget to the city administrator.
I agree.
So discussion with him before he even sees it, because a lot of times the Board of Aldermen aren't even aware of some of the big ticket items that are in your budget to see. So.
I agree, and I've always provided a very detailed, breakdown of this, for this budget line, this is what the expenses are going toward. I mean, I have always been very detailed on that information, and I have provided, like, the marketing and the printing and that, where that money is going towards. But
Should we do
I would
a
love,
work session maybe in June?
I would love to have that.
Okay.
And, it would be really good. I think last year, having the community come out, the tourism, the businesses coming in for that last session when we, the Board of Aldermen had decided they wanted another work session to go through line by line. That was really important for them to see. And, just kind of reading some of the recent newspaper reports where the comprehensive plan and the TIF plan, there seems to be question if the city even really wants to continue to be invested in tourism. And absolutely, your entire downtown, you have people that have moved here and opened businesses for the tourism aspect. And so, I think that having a voice from that group is going to help push and support that we at least maintain what we have. This year with the tax commission deciding to go their own way with spending their money, there's that much money that has been taken out that we can't use to advertise. And so, while that was their prerogative to do, having this splintering and division is not a good thing to have.
That's why I'd like to include them in the discussions.
Right.
Well, since you both brought it up, I've got to tell you, it was on my list of things to address in new business, but I don't understand why they're not reporting what their activities are to this committee. I mean, you talk about splintering. This is beyond splintering. This is almost like a back-to-back duel,
Yeah,
and it's wasteful, and it's totally counterproductive.
yes.
And I'd like to see some healing, or whatever you want to call it, some bringing together, so that we're working in the same direction.
I agree, and I'm not quite sure what happened. I mean, why it
I'm
just...
not either.
They were part of the group until this year, all of a sudden, they just kind of went their own way without much explanation.
And without even attention to branding,
Correct,
which we've been striving for 4 years, 5 years now,
correct,
and have accomplished successfully in every other aspect
yes,
until that.
yes.
Well, I think that, part of it is there has to be an official tourism tax commission by law because of the Missouri revised statutes that establish the legality of lodging taxes. And that was established back in 2001, 2002. The Tourism Advisory Board was established, or council was established later. Perhaps they can marry that into one group. And that's something the aldermen are going to have to decide.
Well,
and it's something,
the legislation that was enacted to create the Tourism Tax Commission is fiduciary. It's not that does not make them marketers.
Right. It is only to make sure that the funding is being spent on marketing activities, not to decide what those marketing activities are.
And perhaps the alderman could make a change in all of the design of the thing to make it into one.
Well, and again, it takes this board, because most of the board does not know what we are working on. So, most of the Board of Aldermen don't really realize the work that's going on behind the scenes. So, again, I challenge you guys to get the word out and talk to the aldermen, because most of them have kind of relied on me in the past to kind of make sure that, the balls kept rolling, and that, and so, I'm sure somebody will pick that up, but I'm just, again, kind of making you guys aware that we definitely have to keep the Board of Aldermen, because when we spring it onto them, the last meeting of the final budget, the second reading of the budget, it's too late then. So, I would challenge you guys to find somebody that's going to get involved and keep people up to date as far as what's going on.
Well, if you look back at the past of St. James, we've all these groups that are formed to do a function. They're all good groups. The CVB was formed to help do the grant co-op thing. And they've all been good groups, but we still have all of those groups, even though time's going forward. And perhaps it's time to sit back and or take a look and say, how should we operate as a community? And I know each of these individual groups have invested a lot of time and personalities into them, but I think for us to really move forward,
Streamline it.
we've got to either streamline it, we need to get everybody on the same page, headed for the goal. So, and that's something I think we can talk to our aldermen about. They're the ones that empower all of us, other than CBB being its own entity, but that's what we've got to do.
And probably take a step further, the county's commissioners as well.
I agree completely on that one.
Okay, anything else on that?
I just want to report to you, I was doing some grant reviews recently, and I was reading a tourism grant request for a small community up in northwestern Missouri that is real energetic and gung-ho, and it's not a well-known tourism destination. But the marketing director wrote, I don't see why we can't become recognized like Herman, Augusta, and St. Genevieve.
Really?
I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
Chillicothe?
Hmm?
Was that Chillicothe?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, in the Northwest, the state has reached out to me and several other of us smaller communities to help and give assistance to the Northwest small towns and providing advice on, so that's really nice that the state is pointing people in our direction, into my direction, and saying, help these guys. What have you done? What has worked? What hasn't worked?
Well, yeah, the point is that you and I are both making is we do get recognized, we do stand out.
Oh, definitely.
People do know about us.
Yeah.
Even though we kind of sit here and go like, where is everybody?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
There is good news out there.
Yeah, and our marketing partners, my peers, when I'm out at Missouri Travel Council meetings or the MACDB meetings, or even when I'm out at Bank Travel, they see St. Genevieve. They're impressed with what we're doing. They think we're heading in the right direction. It's all very positive, and it's very exciting. It just kind of seems that, once we get into town, it's a little bit of a different, but the good news is our marketing partners see us as somebody very strong. Businesses, I've gotten phone calls from businesses asking for help on some things. So it's, the good news is, outside of St. Genevieve, in the marketing arena and with our business partners, they're very impressed with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Visitor guide, run out, reprint schedule.
I'll address that. We still have such a good inventory that it is premature to do anything right now, because since Kelly and I started doing the updates, we've had numerous significant changes that would have obsolesced the brochure if we'd gone to press with it.
Well, that's always going to be the case. I
It
think we
is,
talked-
it is.
You know, you put a date on it, and it's all subject to
The
change.
fact of the matter is, we've got it in this year's co-op, but no, it's not.
No, it's not. It will never
It's
be
not.
in co-op.
Right.
No, it's in our
Anyway,
department
we've
budget.
got
Sitting.
plenty of inventory, so we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing good.
We're keeping an eye on
I-
it, we'll update it.
Yeah, we do need to get it printed before, since we have the money allocated in fiscal year 13.
Before October.
We need to do it before September.
Right, yeah.
Is anybody, you getting any feedback? There, I was out at the wineries the other night, saw River of Oz Winery, the old
Copper line.
copper mine. Is that active, or is that a new?
They are open. They're more of a store of all of the wines in the St. Genevieve. They're not their own winery.
No.
Yeah.
No?
No. They're marketing one of our local wineries under their private label.
Really?
Yeah.
I just happened
Oh,
to see
that's
them. I mean,
different.
that's,
We've been to one, yep.
Which one?
Cave.
Oh,
I don't think it's a secret.
well, I mean, I saw that.
I can't do that.
Do what?
I said, I guess not, if like 4 of us are nodding.
Okay.
Yeah. I just happened to see that going out there the other night, and I thought, we don't have that, that's not
I've
been on
never
our
seen it. I've
radar.
never seen it open. I knew it
They're
was
never
coming.
open. I've been on to Chalmette 4 times in the last 3 weeks, and I've stopped there every time.
And same
You
here.
stopped there? And they're just not there?
Yeah.
Is it a weekend thing?
There's not even.
I've been there on the
like
weekends.
a
I've been there through the
hourly
week. I've
hours
never
on
seen
sale
anybody
sign
open.
Or on the door.
Hmm.
I didn't, yeah.
Well,
It looks like a
we
menu.
carry all the local wines on our wine list, and
Personally,
I
it
asked
does.
the operators what they know, and they're like, nobody knows.
Yeah. Okay,
I mean, I haven't asked Marty.
yeah.
I just
Well,
stopped
that's
there because
different
it
than
looks
what I had been
abandoned all
told.
the
The
time.
first
and I was
time I
like,
had heard
well,
about it,
is
that they were
there
going to
something
be
there?
kind
Is
of
there
like
not
that.
something
Yeah, show me
there?
shop.
Before
Okay.
they opened, I think that was a consideration.
Okay.
And then they built this alliance with Marty.
But now Friday, going out to the chamber banquet, there was cars there, so I didn't stop Friday. The one
Maybe
day I
this is the
didn't
weekend.
stop. I don't know, maybe,
Come on, you have time.
I really didn't have time.
Since we're on the subject of local businesses, is Teresa Vaughn, she have feelers out for a new tenant for the
I heard they're
space?
moving back to.
Yeah, I heard
Missouri.
that too.
I've
but-
heard that.
Reopen
But
it.
she doesn't want to do it herself.
I heard that they're thinking about it.
Oh, my
But
God.
it's not gonna be, it won't be a restaurant.
Right.
I don't think.
The bookstore? or-
I don't know for sure what it's gonna be, but I don't think it's gonna be a restaurant
Oh,
again.
oh.
I don't think
So
Heard
it's,
that too.
they're not looking for operators for food establishments.
Not that I've heard yet.
Okay.
It would be nice if they did.
Yeah.
Have you been to the Sandbar to ask them about their
Not
listing?
since the big field.
Yeah.
About their what?
Not since.
Well, since she moved over
Since
to
she moved over
the,
there, no.
yeah.
No.
Because I mean, that would be
I need
under
to, but-
restaurants.
Yeah.
I went there to get their menu, for that, for our guests, and then this change happened and I haven't been back.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. I know they had greatly reduced, I think they were offering a handful of things when they moved over to the Sandbar. They had a new menu, and then they moved to the Sandbar and were only offering a few things, but I think they've gone back to working on a larger menu.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I haven't had
Yeah.
a chance to go yet.
Okay, anything else on visitor guide? I know that, people have boxes of those around at places too, but you're probably right. But as Stephanie said, we got it in the budget, we need to set it. Yeah.
Can we get a box of those out to Southbound Fuel? Because I
Is it getting
noticed, well, I noticed this weekend I think maybe had 50 to 100 brochures left.
Okay, yeah,
And
'cause
when
I
I asked
checked a
Bob
month
inside,
ago.
he said that was all they had.
All right, yeah, because I checked about a month ago, and they still
Yeah.
had it pretty good, so. but
Well,
now
with
it's-
winery season kind of
Right.
booming right now.
I don't think we have one here
Do you?
either,
Yeah.
But
Have one-
everybody-
a box.
Oh, you don't? Okay, we can get a box.
I'm going out to pick up some wine tomorrow, so I'll drop off a case at Southside.
Okay, awesome.
Can somebody call Southside and tell them, because I don't, if I just give it to some clerk, he may just stick it in the back somewhere and never open it,
Do you know what time you're heading out?
mid-afternoon.
Bob should be there. Bob or,
I don't know this folks.
Oh,
Bob
and
Gracehaber and, where is his?
which wineries are you going to?
But yeah, they should be.
Probably Chalmette and Charleville, I may need to go to Crown, I'm not sure. Just depleting inventory all of a sudden.
I would like to
That's a good thing.
give you some of that
Yeah.
river confluence heritage area.
Oh, yeah.
Maps, if you could
I'll
take
stop
those
by
out to them.
today or in the morning.
Okay, yes, I went and grabbed 2 cases from the Lock and Dam last week.
Okay, so
And now
does
they're in
that
the
make a
water.
total of 5 that you have gone through now?
No, this will be 3 that I've
Oh,
gone
this
through.
is part of the 2 you just picked up?
The 2 is part of,
The 3 that you announced?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How many did they print total?
And so 10,000. And they're already working on the reprint and expanding on it.
Okay, good.
But that was all they had money to print, was the 10,000.
I mean,
Did
I
you-
can, I go through those in a hurry.
They are fantastic. I mean, I was promoting that out to
Yeah.
the groups as like a weekend tour. We
I
have,
feel like I'm on a short leash with those brochures. I'd rather have a good quantity.
yeah, I would like to get, I have more to give you if you like.
Okay.
The, I have used those for the groups, as a group travel, as, doing a mystery trip. I have also been selling those out to, the state is always looking for new things. And so, new events, new exhibits, new fairs. We really don't have a lot of new outside of some exhibits at the Bolduc House, but this river confluence area is new, and it celebrates both sides of the river. So Amy Bertrand is going to be writing about that in the Post-Dispatch as part of the summer fun. And then the Wall Street Journal is doing a piece as a part of their Market Watch, and St. Genevieve is a focus of a great town, one of the best towns in Missouri to retire. So those are the 2 big editorial pieces that we have coming up. We were just in Southern Traveler. We just had kind of that French, we were included in all this St. Louis, Cape, and
The
St.
AAA?
John, AAA, Southern Traveler.
You have that?
At
Hard
my-
copies?
At my office.
You should bring that stuff to the meeting.
I know, I went out this morning and I was like, I should probably take all this stuff, but my arms were full and it was
Yeah.
raining.
I mean, I think that'd be good to pass around and let everybody see.
Oh, definitely.
Or even ask Amy or whatever her name is. for
Megan.
Extra copy.
Megan? Oh.
Oh, yeah, when that comes out,
Yeah.
when that comes out, I'll get copies.
Did you contact them about their website and linking to visit stgen.com instead of the Great
Yes.
River Road?
Yes, and so that is in process. I know it still links to the Great River Road, but Jim said, thank you so much for pointing that out. But there's, it's Corps of Engineer, they have to go through the process, but their Public Affairs Office will take care of it.
Okay. We had a discussion last meeting about glamour hard leads. I think there were 117 or 177, I can't remember. And the question was, how many of those resulted in actual visits?
Okay, so for the Glamour hard leads, Glamour we started with the fiscal year 13. None have booked yet, but we have 4 potential. For 2002, we didn't have any advertising or any push.
2012.
2012, yes, thank you. And so we didn't have any that year. And then 2011, we had 1 book as a result of the leads, and then 6 at the marketplaces that I went to. And so the marketplaces is really the ones where, you can get the most. That was the Going on Faith. And I came back on Monday and I had 6 church groups booked. So, the advertising helps. This is one of the things that I was talking about, sitting down with Megan. In fact, we're going to do that today. We're going to look over and see, send out you've requested some information. We're really excited. We have some new things going on. And we're going to promote, the African Experience exhibit, the American Indian Experience, the River Confluence, and also have our events as well. So that way we can just kind of do some follow-up and reach out. She and I are in the process of setting up a schedule of, when they make that initial contact, and then following up with a phone call, getting the information out to them. I'm looking at doing flash drives as opposed to sending out the packets, because I send out a packet, it's $4 in postage. I can get the flash drives much cheaper, and a lot of them prefer the digital anyway.
Don't you still have some of the ones we used for the,
We do, but we don't have very many left. I mean, maybe have a handful of them that we use for travel writers and things like that when they come in.
And they're not that expensive. I've been looking at the different
Yeah, they're
pricing.
pretty inexpensive.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that I was able to do, we did a sponsorship for the Missouri Bank Travel Exchange. It was a last-minute opportunity that we had worked on. In that process, I had ordered a table runner and a tablecloth. It's on display now. I had it set up for this weekend for the Acolda Sold Out, but it has our logo on it. It's on white, and then the tablecloth is blue. It looked really sharp. It really popped out. Everyone else was using black tablecloths at all the other sponsors. And so we had a lot of really good face-to-face time. And I have about 10 leads that I'm following up on as a result of that meeting.
There was one thing we had discussed in the past is the chamber booklet, relocation booklet. I know you had them in once for interviews, and they're coming back again. Do you
Well,
remember?
that's the video,
Yeah.
relocation video, it's not a book.
Oh, that's right. It's the video.
Community profile's the relocation book.
Yeah. And when are they coming back in?
Well, that's a good question. As a matter of fact, yesterday I sent an email off to Paul in New York to see what their timetable was, because I haven't heard anything from them. It's supposed to be May, but I don't have an actual day
Yeah.
yet, so.
Different community link?
It's the CGI community video.
Oh, well, yeah, I was talking
The video.
about the hard copy.
The hard copy, that will be in print by June, July. So we'll have that ready. We're working on editorial, improving that right now, so.
Okay, any other old business?
I don't know if it's old business, but I just wanted to say that probably 2 weeks ago or so, I got a group in for the summer music series, 30 of them coming in for the first weekend in June, and they said that they seen us on the Post-Dispatch, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch calendar, so I don't know if you added us to that or who added us to that, but whoever did, thank you. So, and then yesterday I had 6 tickets from a group from Broken Arrow coming in for the Pepperland Band, actually. So it's kind of interesting because the 30 people coming are from, it's a one big family. They're all meeting in St. Genevieve, but it's Kansas City, Columbia, St. Louis, Springfield, and Joplin area. So, and they're all just coming here for
So
that.
that'll take the information back to each of those
Sure.
areas.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I actually sent the lady, when she ordered her tickets online, I sent her an email with our flyer and everything, so they might be back for another show too, but when I asked her how she had heard from it, she said the calendar events on the Post-Dispatch.
You really, people get things a variety of ways, and you gotta use as many of those.
Well, I just knew I hadn't done that yet. I mean, I know we've been on their calendar before, but we hadn't, uploaded anything
And
with
it's,
that yet. so.
yeah, with Post-Dispatch on their events page, you have to get a password, but once you got it, it's again, very easy.
Well, I think you
And
did
that
that
very
last year
well,
for
I
us.
did last year. I don't think I did this year.
So
But
far.
that very well may have been the band themselves that put it on there.
Well, no, they had our complete schedule.
Oh, really?
Dean, just take credit.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say thank you to whoever, because I hadn't got that far yet. So it's on my to-do list for the 1st of May.
I was gonna say, I know I got it through the Facebook.
Yeah, it's all in there.
Do
But
we
yet-
have it, is it on our Visit St. John yet?
Yes.
That's another thing that,
It's been on that for a long time, because
Okay, good.
we linked that page a long time ago.
Good.
But also too, all of the performers this year have put a link onto the Visit St. John page.
Good.
To link it directly to that.
good.
Summer music, so, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
Excellent.
We're kind of excited about the hospital. We've got this little 5K walk coming up Friday.
Friday.
And we've got 215 women signed up for it already.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And a good many of them, probably 40 plus, I don't know, 40 to 50 are from out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Farmington, Fredericktown, Bonne Terre area. So I really think it'll be a neat event, not just for us, but for the town too, to expose them to the Friday night art walk and some of the things going on down there, and maybe they'll
What
come back.
weekend is?
This week-
Is that this
this Friday.
weekend?
This Friday.
Friday night.
Okay, this Friday?
Yeah.
I heard you guys talking about that Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
Just, one of the other things we did mention, the billboards, that I did get some feedback from Leslie down at the Bolduc, that she was getting people in commenting specifically that they had seen the billboard and
It's kind
and
of hard
stopped
to
it.
miss, actually, to be honest with you.
What was that?
It is kind of hard to miss.
Yeah.
I mean, that red just,
Jumps.
Yes. I noticed that Sykeston put one up, and they must have gotten co-op money for it because they've got the Missouri tourism logo on it.
Yeah, and it is possible to get money for billboards and for radio and for television from, and for websites from the co-op, but the hoops you have to jump through to get everything approved, it's outrageously time-consuming. They have to approve and pre-approve and see it before it goes live, and it has to be so many seconds, and if it's not, then you have to reproduce.
Yep.
It's so much easier to just keep print advertising.
Are you getting any feedback from visitors in the Welcome Center on the?
No, we haven't had anyone mention it. I've noticed, we seem to have an increase, and Leslie had mentioned that she had people, and I told her to, track how many mention it.
Mhm.
But on our guest book, they're not mentioning it.
Okay.
And when we're talking to them, they're not mentioning it, but I'm sure there's some that have come in.
Okay, on to new business then, there being no other old business. First, I'd like to thank Joe Steiger for his services to this committee for the last year as the member from the Board of Aldermen. I know Joe's very interested in comprehensive planning and tourism, and so Joe, I think on behalf of the board, we thank you for your time spent on this and your continued interest in it as a citizen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You rock, man.
Okay.
With my stuff, I have to go back to work. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's getting to be lunchtime.
Okay, well, let's just very quickly, you want to?
Okay, I have two things. So Carla was kind enough to make copies of the thing I just tipped out, which you should have all gotten in your email. I have put the events on the Station 2 Cafe events page, although I don't have quite the traffic that something like the St. Genevieve page may have. So with your new employee, I think it'd be really great.
We have already done that.
Okay. And also, I know there's a constant contact list.
Yes, and that's something else that my
This could
employee
go
is going
out
to be, yes.
Whenever I send you one of these, if that could go out to the constant contact.
Yes, that is on
Because
my
those are
agenda.
People that have specifically said, hey, I am interested in this town, sign me
Yes.
up for this.
Yes,
So, okay.
yes, that is on my
Um,
agenda.
If anyone knows of anyone else who wants to receive this every month or as I do it, please just send me your email address.
has anyone unsubscribed?
No.
Okay, good, that's good.
I think we have
Okay, so
about 75 people on constant contact.
No, we have more than that. For the Visit St. John Constant Contact, we have 120, over 120. But yeah, no, I mean, that is one of the things that I want to get into, and that's on our list of training things to do.
And the list of emails I have, my email account won't let me send them all at once. I have to break it down into like 10 different emails. So I've gotten quite a compilation of email lists. And Joe Rozier actually, after I sent him this one, put it on the Workforce Employment Solutions Facebook page and told me he also sent it to his contact list, which has 900 people on it.
Nice.
So,
And,
awesome.
I mean, I can probably put something on the next
City
newsletter that
Scapes?
goes out
Oh, the quarterly?
on the city scene.
Okay.
And that
And I'm
goes out
just
to a
taking this
little over
right
100 people.
off the events calendar on visitstjohn.com.
Yeah. And I try to incorporate that in with my stories.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But yeah, what was I going to say about that? I was going to add something, and I can't remember what it is now, so never mind.
So the
Okay.
format that you have that in, you have it in Word?
PDF.
Do you have it in PDF?
No, I have it in Pages because I have a Mac.
Okay.
I can save it as Word if I need to for somebody, but
If you can
I
do
email
it.
it out as a PDF.
Yeah, it's better to PDF. People can't normally change it then.
Yeah.
But for sending it to like
Yeah,
you,
because I
if you
can't,
need
I
it.
can't drop it as a PDF into my newsletter but if you can send it as a Word
Could
document.
I just send you the text?
Mhm.
Okay.
I was gonna say, actually, now that you have the Adobe Acrobat.
I can probably do,
you
I could do
can-
that. I've
you
got
can
You
the,
take
should
it-
be able to.
I've got the Adobe now.
I can just, I'll attach this to the email I send you, and I'll put the text in the email, and that way you can do whatever you
Yeah.
need to.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you
Good.
can take that and then save it as a Word document.
Yeah, okay.
My other thing with upcoming events was the flood 20th year thing. I've had a few people call me and come to see me at the cafe about things, and I really don't know what to tell them. A guy named Paul Perdue has ideas for Memorial Park, and Jean Rissover mentioned the same thing. Jean Rissover has a lot of knowledge from the 10-year thing that they did in the paper. She told me she has lots of information. I asked if she would come to one of our meetings, and she declined. So I'm not quite sure.
One of these meetings or a work meeting of your little group that was looking at
A
the,
tourism advisory
Yeah.
meeting, just to kind of give a few of her ideas, and she did not want to attend. Bill and Patty Nagar have also talked about a few things. I just don't know where to start. I'm,
I know the down-
Let me jump in here.
and then.
Jean is just not into meetings.
Yeah.
She's not unwilling, she's very willing. She's working with me and other people on behalf of the Downtown Renewal Project. And we're going to make an application to, well, it's premature, but we're doing some work about the flood. And that's where Jean was coming from when she was talking to you.
Oh, okay.
So if,
I mean, you had a little subcommittee, you and Jan and Stephanie.
Right.
So if you,
That-
I mean, if you get together in an
Yeah.
informal setting.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
By the way, I have a collection of newspapers from that time period that people have given me that you can borrow if you want to look at stuff. Okay,
Bob?
Yes.
On a not so good note, the Tour of St. John bicycle race, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's not going to take place. Todd Parker was the organizer, and he just can't put it on again this year. It's a shame. We have 200, 250 racers from St. Louis and throughout the state, actually, that would come and visit. So I'm really disappointed that we didn't try a little harder to help him out in that regard, but maybe he'll be back in 2014. But I think that was a signature event. I think it was something that we were getting a really good class of tourists in the town and to see what we had to offer. So, anything we can do to help these event organizers to keep those things going, because I mean, the quality of people, if you get 200, 250, most of them are bringing just one person, sometimes their whole family down with them to watch them on those races. So if you're getting 500 people in town of good caliber, within the visit, so.
I don't mean to be disagreeable, but I can't think of a soul that would have declined to offer any help that they needed, as has seen in years past.
Yeah.
I mean, is that really the impression Bob
Well,
left with you?
I don't think that was the case. He got married and he just didn't have the time, is kind of what he told me. He just didn't have the time devoted to do the actual planning.
Which is a lot.
Volunteers did hurt a little bit, but I don't, the time.
No problem, thanks.
Moving into a new house, and he just got married, and
Yeah.
It was a combination of things, but
See you, Beth.
I don't think we reached out to him enough to really see if there was something that we could do to keep that going.
Is there an organization that could kind of adopt them locally? I mean.
do we have a local cycling maybe?
No,
Yeah.
not that I know of.
But I think you need somebody, I mean, kind of like what we do with the foundation kind of works with the Occultist Sadao people and kind of developed a relationship. We almost need that for some of these out-of-town groups that are coming in.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it's not happening. So, I'm not trying to put blame anywhere. I'm just saying that, as a matter of fact, it's just not happening. He's missing out on it. And, there's still some lingering doubt whether he wants to do it again next year. So, I would say that anything you guys can do to help out with that, that would be a smart thing for us to do.
I would agree with that on next year. I mean, I really think that we should bring it back. I fully understand his position and being personally busy, but I would like to see that. I've had a few people contact me privately saying that they would be interested in helping to bring that back.
Well, I think maybe an aldermanic resolution that the mayor's support would lend some weight to that.
But again, I think we're needing to have somebody that's going to step up and help push from this end, work with Stephanie, work with their group to make sure, and start now for next year.
Right.
Or
We have to.
That just feels like just kind of nebulous and ambiguous. If Todd could give us structure of what he needs, we'll put it together somehow.
Yeah.
But I can't just,
He has it spelled out. I mean, he's got, an SOP as far as, all the triggers that need to be in place to make it happen. So, I mean, he's done it enough that he's got it all spelled out as far as who to contact, what needs to be done, all the key ingredients to make it happen.
And then the sponsors, he has great relationships with the sponsors and reaching out to them, the different cycling sponsors, where they provide the helmets and the some of the prize money. But,
that would be outside our realm.
right, well, I mean, that would be something that, we would obviously need his assistance with, since he already has the relationships and the contacts. But I think when it comes down to structure, I think we can do that.
I do too.
And it definitely makes a difference for the businesses. I mean, past 2 years, I've had businesses say that they've had people coming in and spending money. Restaurants, people coming in and spending money, so that's,
Well, we need to get off the dime here. I mean, either Todd needs to tell us he'll try to do it in 14, and we'll say we'll do everything we need to do, or we just don't, because you can't ask for volunteers for something that's going to fizzle,
right,
because that's just crying wolf and never mind.
right.
If Todd's willing, if he has all the structure and all the information in a format that he could send to me, I could get it out to the rest of the council, or in an email format, or however he has it, I could distribute it to whoever would want to be
I
involved in
think he has that on Google Docs, because that's what he did last year, is he let me share last year's race stuff so we could both work
And
out of that file.
I mean, I can be a transporter of information, to get it out to people.
But I think it's important that we find an organization or a group of individuals that are going to be the feet
Sure.
on the ground here.
But
and
you have
we
to
gotta-
start somewhere
We got to
to
give
know.
them something to,
Right.
To know what you're looking at, to get
Right.
your head wrapped around what all's involved in it and who you can contact and bring them all together.
Right. Like the Eagles or the Lions, or,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of those
Like the what?
groups.
Eagles or the Lions or the
or-
Elks. I mean, some of them are involved in certain events, like the Lions have been very good about their thing, but maybe we get the Eagles involved, or the Elks, that
Right.
kind of takes it on as a project.
Right.
And it'd be good to get some new people involved in some of those projects, I mean, so it's not always the same.
People,
Yeah.
yeah.
So either Joe or Steph, can you find that kind of framework that he had last year, or whatever that he was looking for?
I can see if I still have access to his shared file. I don't know if I do or not, but I'll look.
Okay. There was something that, didn't you go to the St. Charles Travel Show?
No,
You did not?
no. I have been to, in the past couple of weeks, all of the group stuff has started. One thing that Glamour is doing that's new is called Travel Talks, and it's a much smaller, every year each bank travel, Going on Faith, Group Travel Leader, they have these big marketplaces where the next one is going to be in Virginia. Well, it's not going to be any good for me to go to Virginia because it's going to be more regional groups to that area, not looking to come to Missouri. So they've started up these smaller groups called Travel Talks. I just went to the one in St. Louis. I have a couple of leads off of that. And then in the fall, I'll be going to one in Kansas City. So it's something that's more regionalized. We can get some groups, day groups, maybe some overnight groups for the area. So I've been to 2 of those, and then I went to the Bank Travel Exchange, and I have a couple of leads from that, and then I actually have quite a few leads from that. And then the Missouri Travel Council was last week. The MACVB is coming up in June. I'll be in Joplin for that. And August is the travel talks in Kansas City. And then there's a few other little meetings in between then and now.
I've done the St. Charles Trail Show a number of times, and I stopped doing it because the last time I signed up for it, the company that was sponsoring it went bust, and took a lot of money down with them. But to be honest about it, I wasn't aware that it was back up and running. That's a show we need to be at.
I've been there before too, and I mean, I know that New Madrid has always been there, Hannibal, I mean, they do a good show, people in costume, and again, we get a lot of people from St. Louis and West St. Louis County. I think it's one that we should look at. Oops, excuse me. Sorry. Sorry about that. I think that's something we should look at for next year again for,
Well, and that'll be something that will go in part of the budget process, is making sure that we have
Can't you just do a conference call?
oh. I was gonna turn that off, but I forgot to do it.
I was gonna say, identifying those conventions that we would like to go to and having that included into the budget.
And that should be the discussion in June.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, any reports from the committee? I think we've been through most of the stuff.
Were we done with upcoming major events?
Yep,
That was Beth's.
that was Beth.
Oh, well, I wanted to say something.
Okay.
Okay,
I just wanted to mention that we got approval from the park board yesterday to host the June 8th French Festival at the Main Street Park.
okay.
Yay.
So we will have Elsie Parker and the Poor People of Paris play in the afternoon. There'll be beer and wine sales, and Dennis Stromat and his band will play in the evening.
Great, yeah.
How
Do
do
you
they
have
do
a-
that at, I'm sorry, at that part, and do they close the street there, or?
Yeah,
is
I'm
there-
gonna,
I've requested, the street closures should be this Thursday night with the Board of Aldermen. We've got Jefferson requested to close Jefferson from Main to
Valley.
Valley. Thank you.
Either Valley or Front, I don't care.
Yeah, to Valley. And then we've got Merchant Street closed from Main up to 4th
Yes.
for the parade.
Right.
And then in the evening, closing off Main Street between Jefferson and Washington,
Right, and leaving the intersections open.
and leaving that intersection open. And that way people have places to dance and sit and drink. And I've managed to make contact with the new county fair board people, and so we've got access to the tables and chairs
Good, good.
as we need.
And what date is that?
June 8th.
Do you have a flyer out yet? I saw a small thing. Do you have, is that it?
As I say, we have the small ones down at the Welcome
Could you
Center.
email us a flyer? Because there's a bunch of places I send stuff out to and be glad to send it out.
Also, the Art Guild is going to do an event. They're going to participate by solidifying our festival by having street painting going on the west sidewalk in front of Terry Haven's building.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Chalk art or
Yeah, various things.
various things? Okay,
That
good.
was just a last night.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you email that, good. Is there any other business before the board? Council?
Can we get a brief update on the École des Soldats?
Well, we had great weather. They were extremely concerned on Thursday night. I was emailing them saying that the river's not up, they're not flooded out.
We were getting all kinds of phone calls too, yeah.
And they seemed to be very happy. They had a good crowds at the lectures. Didn't have a lot of people down in the camp. going to do a follow-up with Richard. I got some questionnaires put together for him to see about improvements for next year, but they seem to be quite happy with us.
I think at camping, the impression I was getting is that a lot of people, because it was so wet, that the ones that usually would camp decided not to. We had them staying in bed and breakfasts instead.
Well, no, there's a few people that didn't come this year,
Okay.
but a lot of them stay in B&Bs anyway, rather than set up a tent. But we did have our local
It was
police
cold.
had a tent down there, and we had some of our people too, and we wanted to expand that as we move forward. But, yeah, it was a good weekend. We've got Civil War Camp coming up May 4th and 5th. That's going to be, we hope, a bigger event. It'll be like we had a few years ago with horses, cannons, that sort of thing. May the 3rd is a school day program for Civil War. We have Valley and St. John 5th graders coming down. We just did a program at St. Agnes, and it went very well. And so we're going to try to make it educational. And then on Saturday the 4th at 1 o'clock, we're going to do the reenactment of the bank raid on St. Genevieve down at Merchant in Maine. And I think it may be a little bit better this year. We may have a street battle going on with some rebels. So
That would
come
be
down.
fun.
Yeah, we just.
And then following,
It's been well done in the past.
yeah, and then following up on the Ecole Sodat, I went in for 2 of the lectures on Saturday. Place was packed. I mean, it was
Nice.
very well attended. And, you know, toward we had quite a few sales. We did well, I mean, as far as the Welcome Center goes. So that was good to see. From some of the businesses, I heard that they had, you know, visitors walking in and out that were part of the Ecole de Soldat, so it was good for some of the businesses.
Yeah, they came,
too.
I mean, they had a dinner, I think, at the Old
Old
Brick
Brick on Friday.
on Friday night, so it's
And
been
Danville
good for
had
us.
reservations only on Friday night. Walked in, I'm like, can we sit at the bar?
Question, not gonna make this last any longer, but was there not an issue a year or so ago that the Welcome Center had an accounting problem selling stuff? I don't know if it was books or passports or something.
We no longer sell tickets for events like
Okay.
the Art Walk,
That's fine.
the Chocolate Walk,
Right.
because in order to do it appropriately, the auditors wanted us to do it where it goes into the city and then the city pays out. It was just a lot of extra work
Mm.
and not a lot of return. And so whenever it comes to those type of events, we'll be open, we'll promote it, but we can't sell
So
tickets
that was
to
the
it.
only limitation. You still sell merchandise and passports?
We sell passports. We are cutting back on merchandise because I would much rather people go to one of the stores that generate tax revenue and buy items.
Right.
We don't generate tax revenue at the Welcome Center. We have some leftover stuff that we're trying to get rid of, and once it's gone, I'm not replacing it.
Mhm.
So outside of water, I mean, we have water and Gatorade, and
Mhm. Okay, I just wanted to
that's
clarify.
about
that
it.
for my-
Yeah,
for my
no.
notes.
Okay. Anything else? Well, I'll entertain a motion from one of you two to adjourn.
Do we have a second? I'll make the motion to
I'll
adjourn.
second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all.